in the interest of empath empowerment, I have a treat for you, courtesy of Gladys, as I will call you, because, and feel free to look into that little hole in the camera that is like somebody's face smiling at beautiful you, Gladys. I learned the hard way about that. So anyhow, I am going to be researching with some advanced skills of energetic literacy the kind of mess that is created when people do things with their awareness that they can do because they're talented as an empath. They can do it, but they pay a price for it, and they don't know that they pay a price for it necessarily because the impacts are at the level of somebody's aura, at a level that psychologically corresponds to your subconscious mind. So it's not like your conscious mind knows what you're doing to yourself. Now, I'm going to be using skills of stage 3 energetic literacy, plus something a little fancier to pull out what's called an energetic hologram. Bottom line is, I'm going to set a little intention with you and set up our mini session of research. It's the RES energy reading type session. Mini. I'll set it up, and then I'm going to read these parts of your aura, these chakra data banks, which I'll be naming. And you know what they are, Gladys, but for anybody who doesn't know, they're just parts of a person's aura that you too can learn to read when you have energetic literacy, and it gives you a lot more information than just, oh, your aura is a lovely shade of pink, which would be stage 1 energetic literacy, you know. So I will first research this at the beginning of an incident on our theme for today, and then I'm going to research the same chakra data banks after you did that naughty thing. We're here to give you feedback about this particular naughty thing, what it was doing for you at the time, just to give you more nuance and information to help you maybe let go of it, but only you can decide that. Of course, I'm not the boss of your brain, I'm just here to help. So Gladys, how about having the intention here help you grow with empath skill?
Yes.
So that's what we're about, and because I always co-create things like this, are you comfortable if I co-create this with God helping?
Please.
Thank you. So I call on you, God, to be here now with what I'll call Gladys and me and anybody watching as a supercharged presence, and I awaken my power of command to co-create with you now. And we've got some fine gold and silver light around all of our auras so that only energies that are 100% helpful for our human lives may enter at any time, and also quite standard, asking God to co-create violet flames in every corner and above every window and door in any drinks that we might have, in order to identify and clean up if there are stellar negative energies that can be cleaned up, and they get cleaned up, and new energies come in to support a stronger soul expression. That said, what we're really investigating here, Gladys, is letting someone into your space. And could you say a little bit about what this thing is that you've done from time to time?
Usually if I'm by myself for a long period of time, I kind of feel like I'm aware of what's going on in my environment. So if something or someone moves into my environment, my attention goes straight to them and away from whatever maybe loveliness or whatever I was doing or whatever I was, activity, or where my consciousness or
right. Thank you for describing that. And now, just as a little bit of preparation, I want to make another picture here, since I've got the ability to make pictures. A little perspective, courtesy of another badly drawn picture with good ideas in it about positioning consciousness. Being human, you can relinquish the human, and that doesn't work well. Empath empowerment helps you to be human. There are human vibrational frequencies where your consciousness can go. There's the divine vibrational frequency where your consciousness can go. Perfection everywhere now is what it could also be called. And then there's a whole lot of astral or subconscious vibrational frequencies where your awareness could go. And very often, talented empaths have things that we're used to doing with our consciousness that are not good adaptations to being human. And I like to help because I have really struggled for a long time about how to be human, and I could do it now. You might not know to look at me, but yeah, I'm pretty recognizably humanly functioning now. And it's important if you're an empath to be willing and able to do that. So I'm going to invite you not to make a mini loop.
Right.
It'll make it easier for me to read your aura. And I'm going to be reading one chakra data bank at a time of a recent occasion when you were just enjoying what you called yourself, let's put that in quotes, yourself in your space. And give an example of where and when, and then who the person was who came in later, if you'd be so kind.
It was morning, and I was just as you're waking up before you wake up from sleeping. Mm-hmm. That's when it happened. And then my husband was on a trip, and he was coming in town, so he was probably pulling up to the driveway or coming into the house.
So what you noticed was him pulling up to the driveway?
Probably.
Okay. And in case you're wondering, Gladys's consciousness is not normal. It's very wonderful. And at the same time, am I excited to be able to tell you, help you, and also help your listening, including, this is a great example, please don't compare yourself to any other person when it comes to experiences, because it's worse than a waste of time. So, there you are in the bed, getting ready for what's called the waking state of consciousness. And I'm going to start off about the root chakra data bank for presence in the room. I'm reading you off a diagram. It's camera friendly, plus easy. I'll be back soon to report on how it's doing. So it is in shutdown, this particular chakra.
Oh, sorry.
It's all right. Chakra data bank, which is about who you are as a human being there in the room. You're in the waking state of consciousness, but you are instead, just to fast track here, you're very interested in your connection to the divine, and you're hanging out with the divine as if being human is some kind of stupid nightmare that you got stuck in, and I don't want to be here, and I'll do everything I can to be part of God, and this is crap that God made here.
Oh, no.
My so-called life. Not that you would really talk like that. I'm a native New Yorker. I talk like that. And I've just said it forcefully.
Right, that's okay.
In order to remind you that this is a bad habit.
Yes.
And I say that as an enlightenment coach who has told you that it seems to me that you can definitely move into enlightenment in this lifetime. I'd love to help you, and that's why I'm being so bitchy about this. Yeah. So anyway, to go into some particulars, what's going on at this time when you are feeling your space that's not really about being human, but more connecting to the spiritual source. Third eye chakra data bank for that. What's going on is it's out into deep space, super overfunctioning, and the quality there, darling, you could sport you, the quality there is, I love you, God, I'm home, I never want to leave you.
That's about right.
I actually understand. And would you please throw us those tissues? Just somebody bring us some tissues. I could see those tissues were needed. I always pack tissues when there's a workshop. Oh, let's have the box. Thank you. Here,
I'm good now.
That's fine. Gives you something to do. This way you're not making a loop
It won't
with
be
your...
a loop?
No, that's fine. That's called a box. And you can drop tissues on the floor. It's part of the service. So, continuing on, enlightenment, not that I thought we would necessarily get into this when it's really an empath topic, but enlightenment is a state of consciousness where you completely experience divine identity playing in human life, especially Age of Awakening enlightenment, which is what most of the people I coach who move into enlightenment move into. Not everyone, somewhat traditional enlightenment, their souls want that. But I'm an example of an actual human person in Age of Awakening enlightenment, and you get to love being human and playing as human. And even though you might not seem perfect to other people, in your aura, you're using your potential. You're like normal for you. So in this moment, what's going on with your sense of self? It's in shutdown because you're in rapt adoration as though you were in an angelic body. Oh, are there wings back there? No, see, you're a human woman, darling. You even have parts for sex. You just don't get to do that. I mean, not that I'm investigating them, but I just guess
It's obvious.
Yeah, that's it. It's obvious. And in terms of emotional giving in this moment, this is out to the moon. In other words, also trillions of miles, although not as expanded, because your way of connecting to God is, I adore you. I would give anything for you. Me, anything else I might ever be or say or do, it's all for you. There's nothing else I want. Which is beautiful, only not well adapted to being human. Yeah. So then let's go on to, and thank you for being such a good sport and letting me
Thank you.
teach through this example as well as help you, because many of the people who are watching have had variations on this. So then emotional receiving, how's that doing as you're preparing for your day of adoring God and then swatting away life like it's little flies on the picnic table?
I don't know.
I will. No, soon. I don't know yet, but I will soon. Those are skills. So this is out to the moon, and there is a really nice balance, and you're receiving the presence of I am, divine love, divine power, divine truth, divine acceptance of you, and really a glorified version of that. So no wonder a person might want to hang out in that. But it's really better to do it during what I call technique time and not make it a substitute for living your life, because you have too many important things to do in this world that you can't do while you're doing that thing.
No.
Which is one reason you're here.
Exactly.
I remember. I'm not trying to lecture you. I'm just trying to bring conscious mind clarity about what's going on that's hidden. So then on over to soulful, expressing your human soul. Well, that's flatlined, and in a way that is almost like enough to make me chuckle if I would in front of you, but I won't, because that would be really nasty, which is the soul thrill. In other words, being you, it's like, this is like a cheap piece of garbage. Look at her. I'm just look at her. Does she look, like substandard human? There are people who would give a lot to be like this woman, but no. And anyway, in terms of how you're feeling, it's like, I renounce it. It is as nothing to me. And maybe you've had many lifetimes as a renunciate, but this time you're a householder, as in that word husband you mentioned. That's often a tip-off to being a householder and not a nun. So then there's one other data bank, though, in this collection, which is reading energy. That's the capacity that's built into everybody with a gift of the soul and all the rest of the goodies we have. The capacity to just not only be energy sensitive, but be energy smart. But of course, we also need skills for that part, huh? So how's that data bank doing? It's out into deep space, and not surprising, huh?
Not surprising.
Out into deep space. And in terms of our diagram about vibrational frequencies, There's a definite preference. Can you point to the one you think, yeah, it's like, I want divine, I want God, nothing else will do. Thank you very much. But only if you're God. So now, let me go into this change to these chakra databanks when this awful thing happened and the nerve, your husband started coming home to the house that you have with him.
Right.
Where probably he has the idea that you're human and living there with him like in a human lifetime.
Yes.
And not because he's unevolved, because if he were unevolved, he never could have been attracted to you. Because you're so pure.
No.
Oy.
No.
So, and just a small technical point, one clue that your awareness was so expanded is that it would change you when someone pulled up on the driveway.
Yeah.
It happens. It's like back in the day when I was to use a technical term, some of you know this term, I was living in spiritual addiction and I was identifying more with energies than my human life, mostly astrally ones though. I used to go to an acupuncturist, very good acupuncturist, and she would have the best results with me. She explained it to me after a while, when instead of putting needles into me, which she did part of the time, she would think about where she would put the needles into me. And I responded better to that than when she put the needles into me, although I also responded well. But it was because I was identifying with my energies and not my human life. So the habits that we wind up creating and developing and just slip sliding into sometimes are not very good adaptations to being empaths or, frankly, human. So let me just tell you the interesting impact on your chakra databanks of having this human person enter into your big cosmic space by coming into the driveway. Wow. Following this, it's pretty unusual, but not to you.
Not to me.
Or to me. So, starting off with, and calling it letting someone into your space is a reminder of not identifying with being human.
Yeah.
Just as a point of information. In the future, when you're awake, and it's not your 20 minutes of technique time in the day, Gladys, you can remind yourself from time to time, hot dog, I'm human, or however you tell yourself. You do live in Texas, right?
Yeah.
So there's plenty of people who are really into being human in Texas.
Oh, definitely.
All right, so root chakra, data bank, presence in the room. After you notice him, like that.
Yeah.
Honey, I'm home, I'm in the driveway. 25 feet out. Normal size and range for you as a person. And there is being a very loving kind of person with your presence in the room, and being smart and having an orderly mind. And I can't find a polite way to say this, so I'll just, as usual, blurt it out. Totally no bullshit person. It's like, you tell me the truth or don't bother to talk to me, because I am not here for shenanigans. Can you relate to that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, this is the woman he married, and here she is. And then what happens to your sense of self? It's at about 25 feet, normal range, and the quality here is mainly discussed, like, I have to be her.
It's so similar to be true.
I'm only wrapping words
You
around
really
it.
are.
I'm not you.
Yeah, that is,
I'm a different person.
no, but
I wasn't even doing an empath
very
merge.
similar.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. You know, sometimes just hearing about these habits we have helps us to go, wait, with my powerful free will, I don't have to live that way anymore. No. Over to emotional giving. Well, just between you and me, and not sharing this with your husband unless he really finds out about this somehow, it flatlines. It's an eighth of an inch, and it's like a transitional feeling of the sulky kid who's been dropped off in daycare, if mommy's not going to be here, I'm going to not talk to the kids, and I'm not going to like my teachers, and I'll just, you come and get me. You know who I mean. It's not normal, but it's just transition.
The transition.
There's nothing
shocking.
nasty or petty.
No, my transition is shocking. So that goes along with it.
It is very much. You're so
shocking.
evolved, and you're so pure, and you're so awake that you could go through this huge thing. It's like that expression with drag racing, going from 0 to 60 miles an hour. Only you're doing it with your consciousness. And are you really willing to be human when this is happening? No. Although mostly you're adapting well. The emotional part, not so great. Almost done here. Emotional receiving, flat lines too. It's like, don't waste your caresses on me. Don't waste your caring, gesture, nice things on me. It won't do. You're not God.
We won't show him this for a while.
No, because this is just the instant, probably
Yeah.
within 2 minutes, oh, you're home, sweetie. Yes, somehow I knew.
Yeah, I don't know about that. But you're getting there.
Whatever. And then for Soul Thrill, 40 feet, divine blessing, your husband is a major lifeline to you. Although you can sure supplement that with skills of empath empowerment. Take some of the burden off of him, like he could maybe just be your husband and not also have to be your lifeline.
That's true.
Yeah.
That would be good.
And the key to it is learning empath empowerment. And then over to what happens to reading energy. It's about 24 feet. And there's a kind of clinging to yourself as, well, at least I'm only in energy. I may not be able to be with God in my awareness all the time, that unlimited, unbounded magnificence of all that is. But at least I will hang out in energies now that my husband's home and I have to do human type things during my day, and I'll float through and I'll notice the energies.
Yeah.
Comment here, Gladys?
I know, and I don't like it.
Well, hey, we're here in a live workshop and I'm going to help you not do it. Because it's not a helpful adaptation,
No.
because you've already done it for a while. You've been in that workshop,
Yeah.
and it stinks. So, although you needed to, in that sense, it didn't stink.
Yeah.
And then finally, over to connection to spiritual source. It's out 24 feet. And actually, besides being in normal range, it's very concentrated, like you are starting to integrate the divine presence into your human life.
Oh, that's good.
And that's
That's
a
good.
big secret about growing spiritually, that integration is the name of the game. Not just the technique time, not just the moments of looking at the beautiful sunrise or sunset and feeling like, oh, this is home. But being willing to be a human and be yourself. And in your case, being yourself. Oh, you're so wonderful. Thank you so much for being willing to have this. Let me just ask you, I just gave a bit of a conclusion. What about this has been helpful for you? Would you mind sharing with people who are watching this, and also me, because I'm very curious?
I had a feeling that that's what would happen. Like, that's what was happening. Like, my sleep is like, or when I'm by myself, I'm in my loveliness, and then whack, I start to notice the astral energy of someone coming into my awareness too, and then I pick up on that, and then it's just so much better to know what's happening when that happens, when I'm shocked. And I would really like to not be shocked, and that it just be a normal, like,
And
normalness.
yes, and just
Always.
to recap,
Human.
normalness. Be
With
interested
human.
in human, objective reality, saying things, doing things,
Yeah.
on the premise that you might be interested in it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be boring.
Yeah.
It's like, did you ever hear the saying, all white people look alike, or all African Americans look alike, or all Asians look alike, or all women look exactly the same except for their bust sizes? That's the only thing to notice. Or, these strange ways that we can rule out entire groups of people as not interesting.
Yeah.
And it's not usually because we're stuck in the divine when that happens, but if you've ever been on the receiving end of that, it's hurtful.
Yeah.
And I don't think that this would be fair to say, but I'm going to say it just for giggles. The creator of human life is big enough to handle it if we think it's garbage.
Yeah.
But if you love God that much, it might be time to stop hurting God's feelings, that teeny tiny smidgen of the big infinity vastness, because this world is full of possibility for you. And as a skilled empath, you get to enjoy it so much. So thank you, and could we actually
Thank
end
you
with a
so
hug?
much.
You're welcome.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for helping me.
That's why I'm here.